What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Collider Media Studio at the Cinema Center at South by Southwest 2025. So excited to be talking Clown in a Cornfield with the team behind the film. Huge congratulations. I had a blast.
I'm glad.
I mean it.
So glad.
I mean it. So, Eli or Adam, I'll give either of you these duties. Whenever we're celebrating a film festival debut, we have to do a little synopsis because some of our audience is first going to learn what the movie is right here at South by. So, who would like to give the Clown in a Cornfield?
He's pointing
101?
over here. I think that's my job, but jump in at any time. So Clown in a Cornfield, it's a mystery, really. Like, obviously, you have no idea what it's about initially. It's very difficult, but I do like movies that kind of summarize itself with the title. So it's about a clown. I'm not going to tell you where he is. And it's this beautiful young girl, played by myself, heads down into this town in Missouri called Kettle Springs, which is a rural Rust Belt American town. And it's seen better days because the Baypen corn syrup factory has burned down recently. And Quinn and Dr. Maybrook show up, and she's starting her senior year in high school, and short order, like, makes some good friends, but finds out there's this division in the town between the older people who think that the kids might are just bad kids and might have done something with the Baypen corn syrup factory, and the kids think the older people did. And then all of a sudden, rising up out of the corn is Frendo, the clown, who kind of drives the story from there. He's not a good guy, put it that way.
I love how you make a joke about the title at the beginning. One of the coolest things about like your book and this movie overall is you get the fun of like high concept slasher horror, but you're making some really important points about the divide between generations here.
I mean, honestly, Adam could speak to that. I really thought that that's the part of the book that I was like, I need to adapt this because there is this generational divide in the world, and young people are looking forward and they have a life to live. And I feel like the older, especially the baby boomers, are just reaping, eating up the earth and doing what they want with it. And there's a solid division and a fight about that. And it comes to a head in this. Adam, what do you say about that?
No, it was one of those things where like the book came out in 2020 and people were like, oh, well, the title tells you what you're getting, but you're getting all these a little bit deeper themes about generational divide and class and all this stuff. And it was like, well, it seemed so topical at the time at 2020, and people were like, oh, well, that's not gonna age well. And I kind of think it's aged. I was like, let's just see. And I think it's just gotten these ideas of people read the books, people will see the movie and will come down on a side. They'll come down on like a side on this divide. And I thought it was so funny because it's like, I'm clearly on the kid's side, but I think there's something there that people will be like, oh yeah, these kids today. And it's like, well, that's not really, but. Yeah,
I mean, it was important for us to not paint the kids with too nice of a brush. I mean, they are these rebel kids that are kind of being jerks and causing all this mayhem in the town. Isn't that right?
That's right. Yeah. As they should.
Very effective. Adam, I want to come your way with a writing question with the book. It's one of my favorite questions to ask when it comes to writing a story and developing it. What was idea number one, the thing that started this all? But then also when you were writing the book, did you have a break story moment, like an aha kind of idea that you came up with that made the whole thing feel whole?
I've been writing I was like a published author for like 10 years before the Clown in a Cornfield books came out. And the first one is my first young adult book. People are usually, with an R-rated movie, people are usually pretty like surprised, like, oh, this is for teens? And I'm like, yeah, when I was a teen, this is what I wanted. I wanted blood and guts and, craziness and things like that. Like, it's a different world now. And it's what I enjoy. I love slashers. So it really came out of this. I was a teacher for 5 years. I was dealing with young people every day. I was dealing with people the age of the young people in the story. And I was just like, why don't I write a book that this audience can read? Why don't I write a book about teenagers? And there's no better horror subgenre than the slasher to talk about teenagers and where they are now. It's like, well, in the late 70s, yeah, a guy showing up, crashing your babysitting job with a knife was probably like a key fear. But what is the fear now? Like, what are teens worried about? They're doing shelter in place drills. They're doing all this stuff. That's kind of where Clown of the Cornfield came from, and then it's that magic alchemy of like the title where it tells you setting and antagonist right away.
So now back to you with Adam's book and also Carter's screenplay. Yeah. When you get both of those pieces, what space do you find in them that makes you say to yourself, like, I can adapt this in a way that feels uniquely my own as a filmmaker?
I felt like it needed a touch of comedy in there. It couldn't be something that took itself really seriously with the name Clown in a Cornfield. And I think the initial draft of the screenplay, it was exciting, and there were moments in it that were super fun. And I was like, oh, I could get behind this. But I felt like there needed to be a playfulness to it that I really thought I could bring. And ultimately, like a joy. It's sort of a hopeful film at the same time. And it has to do with this relationship with the parent, father and daughter. I have a son, but really hard, like digging into that father-daughter relationship and building some comedy around that as well. And for me, like, cause I was an action sports guy, and I was also worked as an EMT for a while. And I always found like the most traumatic situations in life actually lend themselves to a lot of humor. After we do rescue, I worked with Rocky Mountain Rescue for a while. After doing some rescues, I would find we'd all laugh about things. And it's so morbid and weird, but I think comedy goes well with horror if you break it apart. Like, don't laugh while people are dying, but people do, like, there are moments of humor within it.
I feel like the humor in the movie, and this was just my read on the book, it does feel a little darker. I love the fact that you can have the same experience, but unique experiences at the same time. If you explore both versions of the story, I think that's a really cool accomplishment.
I love the movie, and that's the thing I love about the movie is that I saw Tucker and Dale when it first came out, and it's like, oh, I love this filmmaker, I love this movie, and I wouldn't want him to do the book version. I want him to do the tone that's like the Eli Craig version of the story,
too,
which is
man.
like which is like, it's such an accurate adaptation. That's the crazy thing. It's like everything that happens in the book, but that it's that tone and it's that comedy that I think is that spark that kind of Eli and this incredible cast brought to it. That is like, oh my God, like I see it. I see the vision. I saw the vision when they said Eli Craig's name, and then having seen the movie, it's like, oh, this works. It's like peanut butter and jelly. This works so well.
Get the best of both worlds. It's
exactly,
the greatest thing. Katie, I'm coming your way now because this movie is a really big deal. This is your first time playing a lead in a feature film, and that is a massive accomplishment that should be celebrated.
Yay.
Oh my God, thanks.
Broadly, what does it mean to you to get that opportunity? And then as it pertains to Clown in a Cornfield, why are you just so happy that that happened with this story and character?
Oh, you have no idea. Yeah, it was actually funny. I was telling Eli when I got the offer, I was actually like, this kind of movie was on my bucket list. I've never done like a really kind of fun, corny slasher movie, and that's my genre. Like, I love that so much. So I was really excited to do it, and I can thank you, I think, for the most part.
I definitely fought for you.
Yeah.
I think
I was fighting against it.
Yeah, the world.
I from the very beginning, before anybody even auditioned, I would have had you come if you didn't audition. I would have had you do the character, and I was so determined to get you. And then we had you audition, and I was like, "See, everybody, look, she's the one." And I think some people just didn't like the "see," like "see, you're all wrong," like she's perfect. And now everybody in the world knows I was right. And really, really, really felt that Katie has the chops. She has put the time in. You say it's the first time, but she's done so much work. And I watched everything she did. I watched her Lifetime movies where she was abducted time and time again. And I thought every time she was abducted, it was a unique character, and she was so real.
Whoa.
And then she did these short films that I watched, and then she did this great thing called Pretty Hard Cases, where she was very natural, and of course Ginny and Georgia. And every single one of those, she just plays this like grounded, natural, real character that I was like, I need her in my movie.
Oh my God.
Ooh,
I did not expect to be hyped up right now.
Oh, I'm going to make this even worse for you now, because I'm going to make the two of you answer this from the scene partner perspective. What is something about her as a scene partner and also a number one on the call sheet that you really appreciated and are going to be excited for more actors to experience when she leads more films down the line?
Oh.
Well, as an actor and as a big fan of horror, like the thing that you want is like somebody who's just something that separates horror sometimes from other horror movies is somebody who a lead or a final girl who like you care about immensely and you want them to win. Like I'll watch all the other kids die because you want to see some death, but like not her. And you're fighting so hard for Katie, and that's as a number one, you also get behind her in that way, just as a person as well. Like she's an amazing scene partner. She's natural and grounded, and also just like brings the best out of everyone else, and that's what you want from a number one.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to see the film, and we shared a couple of scenes where I was pretty, we were having a lot of fun playing these scenes, and it was like she's just so grounded and so coming from such a real place that no matter. Yeah, you could put her in any movie, and I think she would kill it. Like you really held it down. So congratulations to you. It was fun to play.
Well, man,
Please speak the truth.
My God.
Can I tell a story?
Let's hear it.
I think one of the things we just watched the Oscars the other night, and we watched like all of this touring that people do, and everybody
the Oscar campaign for Katie starts right now.
Everybody looks so elite, right? And then you actually get into filmmaking, and it is like gritty, dirty stuff.
Not
like we're out
glamorous.
there in the corn, we're covered in mud, and we're all like surviving in Winnipeg. It's freezing sometimes. It's freezing all the time. Katie, by the way, we're in the middle of the night shooting through the corn, and we would say action. She's running from a clown, obviously.
No spoiler.
And we're on a golf cart going like 35 miles per hour, and Katie's keeping up, just slashing through the corn, and then she stops and she's like, cut. I got something in my eye. I think I'm okay. I go, you got something in your eye? And she's got, I got a stick of corn in my eye. And she reaches down, and I'm like, this could be really bad. She pulls this thing out, and she looks over, she says, I'm fine, let's go again. And I think this girl is so tough. She's gonna kill it, and she's a warrior.
That intensity is something else, and I definitely think it comes through big time in the finished product. Because two of you, I think, just brought this up, and I can talk about this topic all day long. What's your favorite scary movies?
Oh my gosh, man, that's the worst question ever. Horror, I think, is my favorite genre, and I think growing up, my favorite horror movies were like, there's Audition and Pulse, and then there's like The House that Jack Built, and then obviously the original Texas
this
Chainsaw.
is not what I was expecting, and I like it.
Yeah, or even like I could say like Eraserhead, and like that was the type of stuff that I kind of like fell in love with. But then like over time you find like the fun, the spectrum of horror is so like big and it's endless. So then you've got like Shaun of the Dead or like Jennifer's Body, and then this is all just to say I will not answer your question. I love them all.
I love those answers. Can you top that?
No, I mean, I do think there are like food groups of horror, right? There's Exorcist and Rosemary's Baby. There's the monster ones, which are, I'm going to put Alien in there. I think Alien is like, that's the best monster guy.
Yeah.
There's, for me, Manhunter was the first scary movie I ever saw as a kid that was not, because that was like psychological, like that Silence of the Lambs. Like I didn't know what a serial killer was. That movie was terrifying. And then like just stuff like Friday the 13th, the first one is a classic. And there's also something about Jason that's like, all due respect to Pennywise, who's like an ethereal, very scary nightmare being. Sometimes I just want like a dirty local psycho in a dirty clown suit to chase me around. Like that's somehow scarier to me.
We'll have to come up with something.
Yeah.
Wait, Kevin, I want to switch it up for you because we've got Clown in a Cornfield now. One of the last times we spoke was for Abigail. You've done horror even before that. Is there any horror filmmaking item that's still left on your bucket list that you would love to tick in the future?
You're looking at me knowingly. I was like, do you know?
Like, this is a good one. Because I set you up for that's a great question.
No, like it's a funny thing for me. I never look at the projects. I never divide them.
He never read the script.
No. I love the script, and I love Tucker and Dale, and I love Little Evil. I'm gonna pull my own horn. Abigail's a great movie too. It's like but I don't look at them as like horror or drama. I just kind of read them, and if I feel compelled by them, then, and if I see that there's a place for me to inject life into a character, then I don't approach them any differently. So like I just love my job. I still can't believe that people keep going, hey, you want to come make this? Yeah,
that's a true.
That's fun.
I just love that. That you're looking at the project as a whole and saying, what's my role here? How do I bring that to life? How do I make this a little bit better?
Yeah,
I love that answer.
It's just you know, it's such a dream. You know, like we all have this opportunity to like entertain people, and that's our job. And so there's really nothing better than that. So whether it be horror, comedy, drama, to me, specifically this film, I'll tell you, like I just watched it 3 nights ago with my wife, and we lost our minds. It's so good, Eli. Like it's so good, and you guys are so good. Like I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
This is what it's like working with Kevin too. He's just like
so nice.
Dives in. He's full of joy. It's everyone can just get on his back
it's the
and
same
ride
experience interviewing him. That's why I love talking to you every single time. Like you radiate enthusiasm and passion for the work that you do, and that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, people is just gonna be like, yeah, we know he's just happy all the time. Why is he so happy? What's wrong? but
Never
it's
lose that.
living my dream. I get to work with great people like this.
I'll get greedy with this. I want you to live more of your dream, and because we were just talking Abigail, I have this on my brain right now because Catherine just signed on for Ready or Not 2, and all I ever want is for all of you to reunite with Radio Silence.
Yeah.
Would you want to be in Ready or Not 2 as well?
Big time. I reached out. I was like, hey guys, what's going on? I heard Catherine's coming up. What's happening? And they were like, my agent was like, there's a part in there that could be right. And I was like, I'll just wait and see if they say. They didn't say anything. But I love them so much, and I'm going to see them because I'll be shooting up there anyway. So we're all going to hang out. I always say this is the manifestation table. That's why I bring something like that up. I want to speak it into existence. No, those guys, Radio Science guys, we're always thinking and looking for things to do. So I honestly, for me, if I was in Ready or Not 2, it would really spoil that movie for me because I loved Ready or Not. So I'm kind of happy I'm not in that movie, because if I was in that movie, I'd be like, oh yeah, there's your stupid face. Like it's like it both ways. Like because it's a world that I know. This guy is so optimistic about everything, except for his face, apparently.
Before I let you all go, there's one other thing I want to use the manifestation table for. There's more books. Are we keeping in mind the potential for another movie down the line? All I could say is please go see it. All of you people that were like, where's Tucker and Dale 2? All y'all should have gone to the theater when Tucker and Dale was playing, because there would easily be a sequel. Yeah. So the bottom line is truly like there's us who are the artists and love doing it. And then there's literally the people just counting beans going, is there a sequel? Yes or no? And if you love this type of movie, go see it. And oh my God, a good possibility. You will not be disappointed. You need to go to the theater and see this movie. You're gonna have the time of your life. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna be scared, and you're gonna go home giggling your butt off. And so just go, get out there, support the film, because it's really worth it. I had so much fun watching it. I can 100% get behind everything you just 100%. Said. I'm going to say thank you and congratulations for a great book to start it all off. And then also this adaptation that embraces and respects that, but also gives me something fresh and a story that I already liked. I think that's one of the greatest achievements when adapting something to a feature film. So job well done. Congratulations. Woo-hoo. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nice to see you again.